Let's be honest, your Mac desktop could be working a lot harder for you. You can clean up the dock, declutter the menu bar, and bring your desktop to life all without installing anything. I'm Mike. Let's make your Mac more useful and a lot better looking. First up, the dock. Apple calls this thing simple, but simple isn't always smart. Let's take a closer look at the dock. Down near the bottom of the screen, you're going to notice there is a set of icons here of apps that I have recently used or that Apple feels might be suggested to me for future use, depending upon my previous use. If this is something that you would find convenient, then go ahead and leave it enabled. But if you're like me and you prefer a slightly cleaner look to your dock, follow these steps. Let's open the System Settings app. Let's find Desktop and Dock in the left pane. And you'll notice down just a little ways, there's a setting for Show Suggested and Recent Apps in Dock. Toggle that off and it disappears. Now, another important thing that you'll want is to minimize icons to the app icon. Find the toggle for minimize windows into application icons and turn it on. Also, taking a look at the dock, you'll notice that there are a lot of applications in there that Apple places on the dock out of the box. However, these might not be the apps that you want to use all the time. So it's easy to remove the extraneous apps from the dock. For instance, down here, I have the Photo Booth app. It's a cute app, but it's not something I need to use on a daily basis. I can right-click that app icon, hover over Options, and click Remove from Dock. And just like that, it's gone. I also see the Stocks app. I'm all for personal finance, but it's not something I need at my fingertips. I will right-click again, hover over Options, Remove from Dock, and it's gone. And I also see the Chess app. People kick my butt at checkers, so I don't need to have chess to make me feel that much dumber. So I'm going to remove it from here, but this time I'm going to click and drag it off of the dock, like so. And once I get a certain distance away, you'll see it says remove. I release, it's gone. It's just another way to remove apps from the dock. Wait a minute, what if there's some apps that I want on the dock? How do I get them on there? It's pretty easy. What we need to do is open up the Finder app and then navigate to Applications. If you don't have it in your left pane, you could also go to the Go pull-down menu here, scroll down to Applications, and it'll take you to the same place. Looking at the collection of apps, I like to make calculations every now and then, so I'd like to add the calculator to the dock. Let's go ahead and drop that down here next to Mail, Release, and now the calculator app is on my dock. I also like to listen to music. Let's find the music app in the Applications collection, and here it is. I will click and drag that over to next to the Applications app. And there it is. The music app will be at my fingertips when I need it. Now let's take a quick look at a couple of other settings that you might find helpful. Back in the Settings app, notice that you can control the size of your dock. You can make it very large so it's easy to see, or you can shrink it down so that it's tucked away until you actually need it. Another thing you can control is the magnification as you hover over it with your mouse. You can make it very large so it's quite exaggerated, or you can use the slider to make it a much more subtle effect. And if you wish, you can just turn it off. It's up to you. Now bear with me for just a moment. I'd like to share a nerd level tip that surfaces a hidden feature of the dock. Now what I'm going to do is add a blank space to the dock so that you can visually separate groups of icons, and it might help your workflow. To do this, we're going to be using the Terminal app, but don't be scared, it's not difficult. We're going to use Spotlight to open Terminal. Press Command and spacebar at the same time, and then begin typing Terminal. You'll see it comes up right away. Hit enter. The Terminal app might look a little Spartan, but don't let it scare you. What we're going to need to do is issue a command in Terminal, and it will create the blank spot on the dock for us. The command might look a little scary, but I actually have it down in the comments for you to just copy and paste. I actually have the command in my Notes app. What I will do is highlight it, and I will use Command C to copy it. Go over to the Terminal app, type Command V as in Victor to paste it. Now when I hit enter, the screen will blink. That's expected. And you'll see now that there is a blank spot in the dock. Now this blank spot can be moved anywhere on the dock that you wish, just like any other app icon. Click and hold and drag it across the spot that makes sense to you. I'm going to do it between the Photos app and the Calendar app. Repeat this process for as many blank spots as you need. And as a bonus, down in the comments, I actually have a different command that will create a half-width blank spot. You're welcome. Let's now move our attention from the dock and turn it to the menu bar. The menu bar is prime real estate. Let's see about organizing it the way you would like it. First, let's take a look at the date and time in the upper right corner of the screen. To make changes there in the System Settings app, let's switch over to the Control Center. And let's scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see here with clock, there are clock options. Now you can review these settings to make the adjustments that work best for you. For instance, I prefer to see the day of the week, so I leave that enabled, but maybe it doesn't work for you. There is also a very peculiar setting in here to go from the digital format for your time to the analog clock. This works really good if you have eagle eyesight, but for the rest of us, I recommend staying on digital. Okay, we'll close out of here. Also, one thing to point out, ever since macOS 15.2, you've been able to put Apple Weather in your menu bar. And it's right here in the same area in the settings. Just change it to Show in Menu Bar. And as we can see here, now we know just how warm it is outside. You can also add icons in the menu bar from your control panel. In this interface, you have all of the different controls collected into one area. However, you might want to be able to see your Wi-Fi icon in the menu bar by itself. If you click and drag from Control Center onto whatever place you would like it, and then release, it becomes part of your menu bar. Let's do the same thing with Bluetooth. I'll click and drag it up there right next to the Wi-Fi. I'll release it, and now it becomes part of my menu bar, and I can access information from there. And while we're talking about placement of those icons, let's go ahead and see how we can actually move them around. Say, for instance, I would like to have the weather closer to the date. I can't just click and drag on it. I need to hold the Command key down, then drag, and now I can put it where I would like it. If you happen to change your mind and you don't want an icon in a certain spot, what you can do is just hold down the Command key, click on the icon, and drag it away, and it no longer is part of your menu bar. Now, one quick heads up. There are a couple of icons in your menu bar that Apple has basically written in stone. You can't move them. For instance, the date and time, and also the placement of the control panel. Now, when it comes to date and time, that's because if you click on date and time, you will actually get the notification center. And Apple wants to make sure that that's always available right there. And now let's turn our attention to the Mac desktop itself. Now, depending on how you work, you might have several icons all over your desktop. If they're a cluttered mess, I actually have a video that will help you with that, and you can click that above. But for this video, I will include the tip that you can use stacks to organize your desktop. For example, I've got a collection of PDFs here. They're just kind of strewn on the desktop. If I use stacks, it will stack them up. You can also adjust the stacks by kind, by date, and also if you use tags, you could leverage the tags to create stacks. So there it is, stacked nice and neat. Another feature on the desktop are hot corners. To configure this, open up the System Settings app again, go to Desktop and Dock, scroll down to the bottom, and click the Hot Corners button. Here you'll notice that you can configure each of the four corners on your screen. For instance, let's start in the upper left, and I would like to go ahead and set it up to start my screensaver there. Click that. And now, if I take the mouse and go up to the corner, my screensaver starts. Also notice that in the lower right side is the Quick Note feature. It's very handy, but if you happen to be accidentally activating it, what you can do is click, and now you can use modifier keys. You can use Command, you can use Option, or you can use Control. And then while you're pressing down that button, click, and now it will require me to hold down the Control key on the keyboard as I slide down to that corner to trigger the Quick Note feature. Stepping back a minute to the subject of screensavers, let's close out of here. Back in the System Settings app, let's go to Screensaver here in the left pane, and you can now view the collection of different screensavers that Apple has made available. Many of these are quite beautiful, and many of them are pretty darn cool. And if we scroll down to the lock screen area in System Settings, here at the top, you can determine when you would like the screensaver to start. For instance, mine starts after 20 minutes of inactivity. Finally, let's turn our attention to the largest element of the Mac desktop, and that's the wallpaper. You can configure the wallpaper from the System Settings app, choose Wallpaper from the left pane, and you'll notice a large collection of very beautiful wallpapers to choose from. When it comes to wallpapers, I actually prefer to curate my own set of wallpapers. Let me show you how to do the same thing, because it's not difficult at all. Now, the first thing we're going to do is find some wallpapers. Let's go to Safari and take a look at a few sites that I like. Starting at pexels.com, let's take a look and see what they have here. All right, the Golden Gate Bridge here draws my attention. Let's go ahead, download that one. It's a free download from their site. I'll hit allow, and it will download to my downloads folder and open it in preview for me to check. We'll go ahead and close preview here. Let's go over to unsplash.com and see what they have there in their wallpapers collection. This one here of a lighthouse, that draws my attention. Let's click into that. Let's download it for free. It goes down to my downloads folder, opens in preview. And now let's go visit Basic Apple Guy. If you don't know about this person, I highly recommend that you stop by his website and take a look. The wallpapers that he makes available are incredible. So let's hop into the Skyline 2 blog post. Very pretty. Let's scroll down, and the tangerine version looks good. Let me go ahead, click that. It opens up in a new tab. That looks good. What I will do is right-click on the image, click Save As. It will go to my Downloads folder here. Click Save, and there it is. Now let's open the Downloads folder, and you'll see I have the images right here. Now what I'll need to do is create a folder specifically for that. Follow along with me. What I will do is I am going to command click each of the files. I'm going to right click and then click copy. I'm going to go to the iCloud Drive folder here, and I'm going to create a new folder. Let's name it Desktops. Let me click into it. Now I'm going to right click. Now before I paste, I can actually hold down the Option key, and instead of just copying the files from the Downloads folder, this will actually move them to the Desktops folder. And we have it done. Now let's configure System Settings. Let's click Add Folder or Album and click Choose Folder. Let's find iCloud Drive. Let's click Desktops, and now we'll click Choose. Now the system has added the Desktops folder that I've created to my choices for wallpapers. If I click the first item here, this will add my 3 wallpapers in a rotation. I click it, and you can see that my wallpaper has been replaced. If I take a look up at the settings closer to the top, I can actually change it to rotate among those images every hour, every day. I could even do it every 5 seconds. Don't do it every 5 seconds. I'm going to leave it at every 30 minutes. And just for variety, I'm going to click to change it randomly. Now, I will argue that nothing makes a computer more yours than the right wallpaper. Hopefully now, your Mac works better, looks cleaner, and actually feels more like your own. What's your favorite dock or desktop tweak? Drop it in the comments. If this helped you out, like and subscribe. It really helps a small channel grow. Until next time, be safe, have fun, keep learning.